So yesterday it was announced that Nikola Jokic has won his third NBA MVP. And I'm going to be totally candid with you. I think most everyone who has commented on it is completely full of crap. But they're full of crap from the way in which we're all kind of full of it. You know, did you read every word of the books you were supposed to read in high school? Or did you get Cliff Notes? Or did you read most of it and then you kind of skimmed it and you were discussing it in class? I'd say most of us, you read it, sort of. Like, I read Lord of the Flies. I like Lord of the Flies. I still don't know if it's a conch or a conch. Does anybody? But I truly believe what's happened here is all these conflicting things happening at once. The first thing is, I think a big reason Jokic won the MVP was an overcorrection from last year. Last year, he was on pace to win the MVP. Kendrick Perkins made it about race. Make no mistake about it. He made it about race. Okay? And you compound that with the fact that he didn't finish the season nearly as strongly. And Embiid only played against him once and played great. Didn't play when they played in Denver. And he didn't win the MVP. This year, because of what happened last year, in an effort to kind of right the wrong, and because he was far and away the best player in the playoffs last year and they won the championship, it was almost confirmation bias with any of the voters. We're like a year late and a dollar short on a lot of this stuff. When guys lose their game, we usually don't get it till a year later. When a guy's an effective player, we usually don't get it till a year later as well. And in this case, Jokic won the MVP because of last year. And because who's really that strong a candidate? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? I guess they were the 1 seed. But because he hasn't done anything in the playoffs, and because, be honest with yourself, no one watches Oklahoma City play. No one watches Oklahoma City play. I've been to 2 Thunder games, including game 1 I was at the other night. I've watched him. He's amazing. Okay. He hit 2 big threes that really opened up the game, opened up the floodgates. He gets like Jalen Brunson, he gets the benefit of the doubt calls by creating contact. So he's getting superstar calls or superstar treatment. The league has taken notice, and most people think he was a viable candidate. They got the 1 seed. He had great numbers. He shot a great percentage. It's not crazy to vote for him. It's not crazy to vote for Jokic. It's not crazy to vote for a lot of these guys. For Jason Tatum, they had the best record in the league, and he was their leading scorer. He's their go-to guy. There's no real. A lot of the MVP discussion, honestly, is because of the 24/7 news cycle, and specifically because ESPN has, just like the NBA, they're trying to find a way to get you to watch regular season games, which you don't want to watch because they're not played at a high level of intensity. So if you trigger the MVP conversation in November, it becomes kind of a running thing. And we pay attention to it way more now than we did previously. It's kind of brilliant, to be honest with you. But there's something weird kind of at play here. Shaquille O'Neal is defender of all things big men, isn't he? He had this interview with Jokic last night.
I love you, the best player in the league. I want to congratulate you, but I want you to hear from me first. I thought the SGA should have been the MVP. That's no disrespect to you, but congratulations. And what do you guys have to do to get back on track versus Minnesota?
Thank you, Shaq. We don't judge people here, so that's fine. It's your opinion. I'm joking.
Brother. Hey, all good. I love you. I love your brothers. One thing we always going to do is keep it real with each other. Congratulations.
I actually, on one level, I respect that what Shaq's doing. On another level, it has no place in that discussion. Right? Like, he wanted to make sure that Jokic, but here's the thing, does Shaquille O'Neal have a vote? If you don't have a vote, then who cares? Who cares what you think? By the way, you have inside the NBA, I'm sure Jokic sees it, and you could sit there and go like, but it's really, really weird. Really weird that the defender of the big man, for the life of the show, Shaquille O'Neal has been completely blind to how the game has changed. Throw it into the big fella. That Shaquille O'Neal would jump off of the Jokic bandwagon and then contradicted saying you're the best player in the league. What is the... None of it makes any sense. What is the deal? What's the actual deal? Do I think it's the anti-foreign bias? Sure. Do I think it has anything to do with his skin color? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think. Do I think that NBA players have biases about white dudes? Of course. Of course. And it's been built up over time and again. Right? The vast majority of NBA players are black. They just are. Even mixed race, more so than white. And the European players were always seen as floppers. Now, the one thing about Shai is he's not actually American. He's Canadian. Do people know that? And he is a bit of a throwback in that he's not a particularly high level, high volume, proficient 3-point shooter. So it's a weird one. It's a very strange one. But I honestly think it's the anti-foreign player bias. That's my presumption. And yes, most foreign players do have, they're white guys. But not all of them. Giannis is not. Embiid is not. I know Embiid is naturalized, but he's not. You know? It is weird. No one said this about Giannis. No one said it about Akeem. Right? Those are big guys who are the best player in the league and won the MVP. There's never been anything of it. So are we just, again, am I denying what society is doing? Because there is a correlation there between the protests, right? We do know that. The protests most of these people are complete buffoons and idiots, right? Not even realizing that there are Americans being held hostage in Gaza. 3 of them. Right? How we don't have nightly vigils for those 3 human beings is the saddest thing in the history of the United States. Instead, we have actual vigils for people who support terrorist activity. That's the world we're living in. And what is it? It's the fact that we have, for the last 10, 15 years, we have been anti anyone who's in power. Right? Think about it. Any president, complete idiot. Doesn't matter the president. Doesn't matter the side. Right? Doesn't matter the side. Every president's an idiot. Every commissioner is the worst. Every commissioner gets booed. Right? Every one of them. Any leader is the worst human being ever. And generally, anybody with white skin is bad because of, I don't know, what did Jokic do wrong? Has that ever happened in the history of broadcast TV? Ever. The guy wins the MVP. And Shaquille O'Neal, who was an MVP, says, I just want you to know that I thought Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should have been the MVP. It's unbelievably disrespectful to the award, to the accomplishment. And oh yeah, by the way, in your effort to tell the world that you didn't think he was the MVP, does Shaq have a vote? I don't know if he has a vote. If he has a vote, then all he had to say was, look, I just want you to know I voted for Shai. Okay? But you didn't have to. So I guess I'm asking you, what is at play? What could possibly be at play? It did not happen when Joel Embiid won it. It did not happen when Giannis won it. And those are foreign-born players. When, now Dirk won it, I don't remember any sort of discussion about any sort of negativity towards it. And Dirk couldn't guard the chair that I'm sitting in either. It's the craziest thing I can possibly think of. I'm trying to make heads or tails of it, and I don't know what the actual answer is, and I do not want to make it about race. I always think that's the last possible thing. You guys know me. Like, I truly believe that race is the last possible, like, no. And I do think there's an anti-big guy bias, right? Because so many of us look more like Steph, look more like Brunson than we do like Embiid, than we do like Giannis, than we do. And honestly, the Anthony Edwards types, because they're so breathtaking with their sheer athleticism, that we have an infatuation with that, more so than we do the footwork of a big guy or the passing ability of a Jokic. But I struggle with this one. And I know Shaq a little bit. Shaq is everything he purports himself to be. He's a really fun human being to be around. Right? A really fun human being to be around. And if you've listened to any of his stuff on his life, like, he's really kind of found a good balance in life. He felt like he was in a wrong place for a long time, and now he's found that sort of balance. But man, I got to tell you, that is such a bad. The NBA has got some terrible looks today. You had the MVP of the NBA and a former MVP who's a fellow big man, defender of the big man, like, say, I didn't think you were the MVP in an interview the night he wins the MVP award. What? And then today you wake up and Patrick Beverley got 4 games for throwing a ball, not once, but twice, into the stands. Let me ask you a question. If a ball came into the stands, or if a fan bought a basketball at a concession, like went into the team store, bought a basketball, and threw the ball at Patrick Beverley when Pat wasn't looking, and he jumped up and caught it, what would happen to that fan? He would never be allowed in an NBA arena ever again. Am I being too bold? Right? If a fan threw a ball at a player, the fan would be immediately ejected and never allowed back in. I don't think I'm being over the top with that. Jay Stu, do you think that's wrong? Is that too harsh?
No, I think it's in the rule. You can't throw a ball at a player.
Correct. Even more so, you can't throw a ball at a fan. And Adam Silver allows that to happen. They set a precedent today. Remember, the guy who threw the cup that started the malice at the palace, right? He threw an empty cup. It tags Ron Artest. Ron Artest goes crazy and just starts leveling fans with haymakers. Leveling fans with haymakers. That guy, okay? That guy is never allowed back in an NBA arena. Ever. He threw a cup. An NBA player, Pat Beverley, and this is not his first offense in terms of being an a-hole, throws the ball twice. Reminds me, do you guys remember the movie Soul Man from the 80s? Talk about a movie that'll never be made again. Is it Yale Law School, right? When he pretended to be black. He put some stuff on his skin so he looked like he was black. And there was this line from the movie.
Mr. Watson, can you name the president for us?
Yes, sir. The president, sir, is Ronald Reagan, sir.
Mr. Watson, I am not a humorless man. But if you're going to take up my class time making jokes, please see to it that they are funny. Miss Walker?
Rhode Island versus Calitano.
Yeah, no, the president.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the great James Earl Jones. No greater pipes than great James Earl Jones. The precedent. They set a precedent. It's not okay to throw a ball at a fan, but I'll get you 4 games. Can you imagine? I don't know. Rough day for the NBA.